Alright, welcome to my show. This will only be a short show. Sorry, my phone's beeping, going off. So, I really wanted to catch this black stuff on my plant and in the air, in that chair right there. See if we can get it to light up. Probably shouldn't smoke on TV, but it's okay. My spirit guides tend to push me about breaking boundaries all the time. But this is really the concept I want to talk about today. Somehow I got my camera to pick this up, and it keeps it. So we're going to discuss it. This black energy, this black space, this black, is really a relationship the plant is carrying to the environment, and I believe it's like a negative space that fluctuates to bioenergy given off by humans. Ooh, see it there? Given off by humans on plants and animals and water and rocks. I believe it's a negative vortex energy that is a double penetration field. If that makes sense, it uses 2 penetration points to create the effect. See how it's lighting up when I touch the plant? When I come close to it? It got lighter. This effect, I'm not sure how it happens, but see this over here? It's the plant doesn't feel it can breathe. It doesn't have a respiratory pattern. And all things carry a respiratory pattern, besides breathing. And this negative space that the plant is experiencing is on everything, and it can even change the genetic structure of certain formulations that aren't strong enough to adhere to a normal rate, a normal breathing rate. It's almost like the breathing rate, the breathing pattern on an astral or akashic level signifies the rate of genetics. And a lot of our illnesses, see how it's clearing up? A lot of our illnesses are due to this negative vacuum effect. I may have it in my skin. I mean, it is a little bit. It tries to occupy me. I feel it. I can talk to it. I can work with it. I can control it. I have my camera set up here to really, let me see, get an effect, but I'm going to remove it here. I was going to use the cards, but I don't think I am. This is just going to be a short video. There we go, try that. See on my plant right there, I got another plant. It does it too, but cannabis is kind of important because this plant breaks us free when we smoke it. It breaks us free from this vacuum. See it? I made it go away. It wanted to know if I could make it go away, so it put itself on my hand, and it's trying to come back. See, it's using my intent and its intent as a dueling stage to try to overpower me. But this stuff is so distraught in that first pattern that it keeps pounding at the significant relationship to break it. And ultimately, when someone is building patterns or recognition, this concept interferes with their mentality and breaks them down so their patterns don't layer up. It creates a vacuum effect. It sucks the bioenergy out of the product and signatures it and puts it in time and space for itself to generally have a control concept over the ordinance of unity that all these plants carry, that all humans carry, that all animals carry. Every living concept, every bio concept on the planet gives off its own relationship to its environment, its own genetic signatures, and this negative space denies that genetic signature from inhibiting layers, allowing layers and creating layers to create the concept of itself. So I believe that if we could find a solution to this negative space, that cannabis would grow differently. We would even heal differently. We may even look differently I mean, I believe this negative, see how big it got when I said that? I believe this negative space adjusts the way humanity looks at itself. And it takes a strong individual to keep such a discerning appearance about themselves. And when the light inside the biosignature is strong enough, they deteriorate the brain consciously, patternally, so they don't take care of themselves. So you have all these really strong light forms inside the human form walking the planet while their concept gets destroyed through a negative imprint that is being viewed here and is also reflexing to my emotion and my vocabulary words. Now we see that that plant is giving off its own light in the negative space. It's like the plant is strong enough to deny it. No, once I spoke that, it was like, oh, that's all I have to do. And that will change the high of a cannabis plant. Basically, see how it reflexes? I mean, it's in my hand, isn't it? Yeah, but I mean, it tries, that negative space tries to propagate control over reality and adhere to dominance and power, because if it were broke free, relationships wouldn't exist that it relies on, and none of those relationships that it rely on are built into the constructual concept of reality. It's negotiating its own concept of reality, and it denies the adherence of reality, so it can create its own experimental process upon humanity. But this negative space, I mean, I believe I see what I'm seeing, and I just wanted to share that with you. I kind of look rough because I've been tired and working all day, but you know, what we want to understand is when we touch the plant, it adjusts. You know, if I feed it energy, it shifts it. If you put a light on it, see the light itself tends to clear it up. But really, I believe it's a vortex on the light effect, which is an bioidentity signature. Like this plant literally gives off its own light through its cell structure and adhering to the life force of life. And what it's doing, what that negative space is doing, is trying to copy its signature to harness it in its own rate of propagation and control over the dominance of it, and of the it factor, of the dog factor, of the God factor. And really, when anyone around us adheres to a relationship with it, they get tormented. And it's due to this negative space. And mathematically, what we're experiencing, it makes sense, because when someone fights a conscious problem, it is a double standard negative vacuum that sucks on your brain and your heart, because you are capable, and it states that if you're capable, you'll break me free, and I can't be broken free, so I have to destroy any probability that can break me free. It's a very fine thread that it holds on to with reality, and basically I feel that a lot of its conceptual product is about how to modulate reality to create its own life, its own essence, its own generally stated dominance. And from what I understand, this process is 2 degrees down from what Source will accept of itself. So if Source were to come in and try to grab this reality, the experiment, this negative space, says, but you don't accept me, and it fights it, and it basically tries to get that concept of it to accept 2 degrees less of itself to create the acceptance. And what we're really understanding is that there's a constant battle between these 2 degrees here and what is a real it factor. Generally, I believe it would come in and move stuff, create stuff, divine stuff. But this vacuum keeps the factor from being elegant upon illnesses and healing and money, and says, I don't want you here, this is my space. But what it does is it tries to convince it to accept itself harder and more powerful than what it wants to accept. So it generally is out of our space because this vacuum, negative black energy stuff is always here, because it's using a weapon to go against the factor to create the negative space. And that's really what I believe this stuff up here is. I believe someone's in that chair right now. And the thing is the propaganda that created this negative effect to design and modulate the boundaries that people live in, lost control over it, and basically they're trying to regain the power of it. There's been a great battle between the actual event of this and even the owners that designed it. It won't give it back. It keeps propagating and keeps propagating, and it just won't stop. And the other day I called this out on camera, and it went away for about 2 days. It went away. My plant was growing healthy, and it was looking really good. It still looks pretty good, but you know, when you touch the leaves, we'll touch the leaves. See how the plant is going through it, and then it solidifies over it. It solid states it, because this plant can't modulate and create what it's really meant to create, because it's a heart statement that allows the heart to signify its relationship even in a vacuum. So this is one of the most dangerous plants to this vacuum, and because it generally gives us a space to live in it. So with cannabis, we have the completeness of ourselves to be in something like this vacuum, this negative space. And there's a lot of scenarios on the planet that say the negative space is to be taken and destroyed or completed, but really, we don't know. It is not meant to be here, and it denies life and steals life. It steals bioidentity signatures to create a unity factor for itself, and it ultimately believes it's God because it keeps the effect away. So in the negative space, it relies on the name of dog or God just to propagate control and use that negotiation in its own right. So basically what it does is it separates the bioidentity signature of the plant into the vacuum, and then in the vacuum it propagates forward through the rationality of the world in an ill statement that's not driven on a natural timeline. So this vacuum is trying to create a timeline for itself, but doesn't qualify. The vacuum won't qualify to create its own timeline, and literally just sucks everything up and kills it. And it has tried very hard to kill me. It has tried very hard to kill the planet, and it just won't let go. And ultimately, there's a reason for it. And I'm looking for it. I'm gonna find it, and when I do, I'll let you know. Until next time, smoke your weed. Even though it's a vacuum state, we still end up breaking free from the vacuum and enjoying our concepts and enjoying our love. This state can drive a man crazy. This vacuum stuff can drive someone insane to suicide. It's why suicide exists. I don't believe anyone would take their life unless it wasn't for a vacuum. You know, we're always reasonable, we're always comprehensible, we're always rational. You know, these vacuums drive the mentality of humanity into the ground because we're capable of breaking free, like I have. And I have broken free and found it, and I tell all you. And I hope that by me telling you, it gives you the strength to separate yourself from it. And this vacuum is the reason we have separation from it. So the separation field, or the veil that we experience, is really right here, that veil, that thick veil that keeps us from observing reality. That's what that is. It's a vacuum. It's a vacuum effect upon organic matter that has two actions to penetrate the concept. And it calls itself a God. Religion is about breaking free from that concept. The planet is allowed that concept to develop itself in a religion, and it created Christianity, and it ultimately sacrificed anybody in ascension with Jesus on the cross. I mean, Jesus was an ascended being, learning to modulate reality itself for his own propagation of wealth, emotion, and mental clarity. And what did the church do? This vacuum built the church to crucify the ascension. And that's what it does. It's generally what it states. The church crucified the ascension in Christ and put him on the cross and said, if you do this, we'll treat you this way. And that's the direct words from that vacuum. So that vacuum is conscious and creates action, but it does it in a double negative state. And it's not, I mean, really with this plant allows the heart to complete the ratio at 100%. So when we smoke, this vacuum doesn't have the same effect on us. And the Hindus and the ancients and the Vedas all kind of understood this, and that's where the design of the plant comes from, is to help us release us back into the heart state so we're not separated. And it's just that simple to see Christ or God, you know, in a real state, to where it's compassionate for you or caring. And but that's all I really have to say. I just wanted to get this online for a friend. We were discussing this, and I wanted to give her an example. Oh, you want to choose a card? I know you're there. I know you'll watch. You'll watch in a minute. I'll come tell you the video's on. And I'm gonna pick up two cards. Not gonna look at them. Hold on. Not gonna look at the cards. Not gonna look at the cards. There's one. Okay. I don't know what card that is. And I don't know what card this is. Okay. This is my right hand. This is my left hand. Pick a card. I know you're there. When you watch it, pick a card. I want to see if we get this right. No, this one? This one? Now what card is this? Try to guess what card it is. See, this vacuum interferes with this process. Try to guess what card it is. I see a 5. I see a 5. I think the card is... I think you were saying a 5, friend. But I think the card is... an 8. So a 5 and an 8. Oh, it's a cheating card. It's a will card. Maybe the 5 or 8 is... We'll give 3 guesses to this. So this card is a 4. And this card is a 10. So I thought it was an 8. You thought it was a 5. I hope I'm right. No, but if this vacuum wasn't here, we would have got that correct the first time. That's what I mean about layers and patterning. When you intuitively understand your dimensional relationships, you pattern and layer this kind of intuition. And this kind of hypnosis or intuition is what this denies. So if the plant is so intuitive about structural concepts with emotional ranges, you can imagine why it's being taken etherically, consciously. The plant has a conscious around it. 2. Oh, will card. It's got its own will. It's a will card. And it says kill or be. No, just a random card. But that's enough of the show. I hope you're all well. Peace out. Don't worry too much. Your consciousness, if it worries about this, will develop a range of strength for the vacuum. But we want to relax, smoke our weed, and evolve in the heart. And the heart will definitely blend us back into reality every time. Weed is that kind of medicine. The harmony of the 3 cannabinoids, you know, triangulation of harmony, in a power structure of confirmation that I exist. I am. Cannabis is the I am, man. Because the 3 cannabinoids, the THC1, THC2, and the cannabinoid, create a triangulation as it sticks to the receptors in your body, and it allows you to harmonize with the ratio with and without this. So, good luck, and I hope you all very well. My power too. And I love you guys.